I regret to inform you that the Life Worth Wasting podcast is about to begin.
Welcome to the long-awaited return of the Life Worth Wasting podcast. I am your host, the one, the only, the Devo, and I am here joined as always with...
Bob, the perpetually sick.
Perpetually sick. I think, Bob, you have been sick at least 1/3 of our episodes.
Probably.
Especially of 2.0.
Yeah.
All right, we took a week off. It's been a very eventful 2 weeks. As you may recall from our To Be Continued, I was a jobless loser, and Bob was an upcoming parent. So now we got some big news. I am employed again after several weeks of drunken job hunting, making way more money than I was before, have a better job, better company, feeling good, feeling proud. Bob, how about yourself? Anything eventful happen?
Yep, my wife popped. She had the kid.
Oh my God. Your life is over.
Yeah, pretty much. 4 days in the hospital. That's why I'm sick.
Woo! Yeah, I thankfully have not had to been in a hospital. It's one of those things where, like, many years of my life, I had family members who had to deal with some very horrible illnesses and spent many, many weeks sitting in hospital waiting rooms. And thank God I have not had to do that for 20 years. That's nice. But inevitably I will be there, either of my own volition or against my own will. All right, so we're back. We have tons of episodes, my God. And since we didn't start recording until Tuesday instead of our normal Sunday, we have 3 episodes of that time I was reincarnated as a slime. Okay, so thankfully, even though we have 3 episodes, the show has little to nothing happen, so this should be a pretty quick one. All right, so in this episode, they introduce a character that has been eagerly awaited, the pink-haired, lolly-esque character that was in the intro/outro of the first half of the season. How do you pronounce her name, Bob?
Milam, something like that.
Milam?
Milam.
I'm just gonna call her the pink-haired lolly because it's just easier. Just easier. So she is she working for the demon lord that Rimuru is hunting, or is she just a part of another group of demon lords?
I think she's just part of a group.
Because this is something that I was going to bring up, because later on they introduced more of the weird, like, Harlequin clown people. So they're working for the main demon lord that Rimuru is hunting, but the demon lord group that the lolly comes from is unrelated?
I'm assuming so.
Okay, I got a little lost there. Because honestly, I thought that the demon lords were the Harlequins, but in disguise. But I guess not, because you eventually see the one Harlequin that has the pink hair, clown girl. I thought that was the lolly.
Tear?
Yes, Tear. So I thought that was just their alter egos, but I guess not. So after Rimuru names all the lizard people, for some reason, half the lizard people become dragon-like people, and then the other half become humans. Not sure why that's a thing. It kind of pisses me off because I kind of hoped yet again that they'd be more interesting looking. But no, they're just humans, and then most of them join the ninja clan. There were characters I physically could not recognize with my own eyes because they were so different looking. Like, the main lizard man's sister became a human ninja. I did not know that was her until I read that was her in the wiki. Did you have any confusion?
I mean, it says it in the episode.
I know, but I'm saying is, like, I saw that girl, like, in the intro, and I'm like, who the fuck is that? And I had to look it up. And they're like, oh, that's the one lizard girl when she gets leveled up. And I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. So the demon lord Lolly attacks, and she overwhelms all of the forces of Tempest. That's the name of the nation, right?
Tempest, Jura Alliance, or some shit like that.
Yeah, but I think the city itself is called Tempest, right? Anyway, so she attacks, overwhelms everybody, and then Rimuru shows up, and I'm thinking, finally, someone that is a challenge. Like, this could be like a 3-episode arc of him battling her and then coming to some kind of conclusion. No, she's far more powerful than he is, but he effortlessly defeats her by shoving delicious honey down her throat. And that sounds as sexy as it is? No. This completely disarms her because she wants so delicious honey at all times, decides to abandon all of her allegiance with the other demon lords and join the Tempest Nation and be besties with the slime. This annoyed the piss out of me because it just embodies more and more all the problems I have with this fucking show. But the Demon Lord Lolly is fucking adorable and hilarious. And I've only watched these 3 episodes solely for that fucking character. And I know I'm like every other weeb on the internet because she is just blowing up all over fucking Reddit and all the other message boards. So
You're liking that butt cleavage?
The very, very out of nowhere butt cleavage. My God, is that inappropriate as fuck? Because this show, I had a revelation when I watched the episode from Monday. I've been trying to figure out what this show reminded me of that I've seen before, and it finally dawned on me. This anime is fucking Monster Rancher.
Okay.
It even kind of looks like Monster Rancher a bit. This show, if you take out like a lot of the cleavage, and I mean butt and tit cleavage, this could easily have been on Cartoon Network. And I'm not talking Adult Swim. This could have been on at like 3 p.m. on Cartoon Network, easily. This show is so fucking juvenile. That's pretty much all the events of that episode. The second episode, the humans show up and we're like the dwarves did. Show up, we think you're evil. Prove us you're not evil. Okay, you guys aren't evil. Do you want to join forces? Sweet. Okay, awesome. All right, effortless diplomacy. That's fucking lazy and pisses me off. Another demon. I think he's a demon. He's like a beast demon. And his crew show up, sent by one of the other demon lords. And the Demon Lord Lolly stops him, which I was like, oh, maybe this is going to be a fight. Nope, nothing happens with that either. He just runs away like a pussy. Episode kind of concludes. You get some nice hot spring with orc lady's massive titties flopping. So I guess that's kind of an eventful activity that happens in that episode. Do you have anything to say about these episodes, Bob?
I was just wondering if her titties float. That's it.
Considering that she's an ogre, the fat density might be different and have less oxygen in them, so they might not float. We don't know the actual...
The important questions are being asked.
They are, really. This is what the show's all about. And if anybody hasn't already noticed, we did change the format a bit of the OBS, so I was sick and tired of all of the video claims I was getting on YouTube for using the intros, even though they were edited, of anime. I said, fuck it, and just stole a bunch of shit off from Reddit, and it's just, for each show, you're gonna get a nice little taste of memes. Enjoy all your fucking memes other people made. Mine will be interlaced in there once in a while, but they're mostly other people, so I don't take credit for them. Now, from the episode from Monday, I'm so naive, because I keep getting my hopes up again and again. Because when the Harlequins meet up with the dejected Beast Lord guy, and is like, oh yeah, there's this, like, god that was created from a fart cloud from the dragon Tempest, and it uses dead bodies and is a giant sky shark thing. Do you want to take that into your body so you can get revenge against the Demon Lord Lolly? Sure. That's pretty much the entire episode.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that there's actual consequences to what happens. I have my doubts.
I was kind of annoyed it didn't even show him get sucked in.
No, because they kind of imply that he has to die for it to go into his body.
Yeah.
And we don't see him die, and no one kills him, so we have no idea what the fuck happened.
He just walks into a cave, and then you see it later.
I also assume that since it takes over his body, he wouldn't just become a giant flying fish monster, that he would kind of regain some of his humanoid visage, but no. This giant flying sea monster.
Just think of it like Sin from Final Fantasy X.
I am heterosexual. I did not play any of the Final Fantasy games. All right, well, Bob, if you don't have anything else to say about that time I was reincarnated as a slime, we'll move on to the next one.
I'm just going to try not to talk because my voice is getting worse and worse.
God damn it, Bob. Well, you got to have something. So, because going into JoJo, you're going to have to say some stuff. So we're going to move on. Now on to JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 5, Golden Wind. We have the conclusion to the epic train battle. So as I had left off, Zipper Man was unzipping the driver side of the train so he could sacrifice himself, taking the Grateful Dead aging stand user with him. They fall out of the train, but at the last moment, the fisherman stand user throws his hook through the wall and grabs on to his brother's hand, saving him from falling to his death. At the last moment, Zipper Man grabs on, holding on for dear life, and uses his ability to unzip people's limbs to unzip the hook from his hand and place it into his own hand, causing the Grateful Dead brother to fall seemingly to his death in a disgusting splatter. The fisherman realizes that it is not his brother on the other end of the fishing line and starts to send the hook inside his body, similar to Mr., heading toward his heart to hook into his heart and kill him. Zipperman decides the only way to prevent himself from dying is to unzip every part of his body, including his heart, so the fisherman cannot detect his heartbeat and would give up pursuit.
Okay.
Yes. So what he does is that he's waiting, his heart stopped, but he's still conscious. He only has a few seconds. The fisherman finally gives up, and when he goes to use his stand to zip his heart back together, the train shifts and separates the two pieces, and he's fucked and gonna die. So as the life slowly fades from his eyes, the train moves again, and all of his body parts smash together, and they get just close enough that he regains consciousness and zips himself back together, and realizes that people on the train are still aging even though he threw Grateful Dead off the train. Come to find out, when he splattered on the ground and broke all of his bones, he used his stand to hold his body underneath the train, so his shattered, bleeding, dying body is connected to the underneath of the train, still killing everyone through aging, which is pretty fucking epic. So now he has to stop the train, kill the fucking fisherman guy, and try to kill the lifeless body of the fucking Grateful Dead. The fisherman finds his fucking will to fight. He went from being puss boy to epic badass with his fisher pole. And they have this weird zipper fishing line battle that nearly ends when Zipperman uses the fishing line to snap the neck of the fisherman. But the fisherman still lives, and he's holding the turtle, which still contains Zipperman's friends, and goes, if I'm gonna die, I'm gonna take all your friends with me, and goes to smash the turtle into the ground. And what Zipperman does, which is one of the greatest ends to a fight in all of JoJo, unzips his arm, throws it at the guy, knocking the fuck out of him, throwing him into the air, punches the fuck out of him, unzips all of his body parts, ending the battle. Unfucking believable. So good. Usually after an amazing battle like this, the next episode's more of a refractory period. It's more of a breath, a palate cleanser. But it just fucking goes in this next episode, because they're still being chased by an enemy stand user. This enemy stand user finds some of Zipperman's blood, puts it into a laptop, gets onto the train with a woman, asks her blood type, her age, does she smoke, does she drink, and I'm like, oh, is he gonna use her DNA to make some kind of Zipperman clone or something? Kind of. After he gets all the information he needs from this woman, he goes, now the most important question is, and he kind of shows his computer monitor, and it has pictures of different sex positions, and essentially says, how do you want to get fucked? And she starts to scream in terror as his laptop grows arms and legs and rapes her.
Okay. Seriously?
This happens in JoJo, yes. This happens. She then wakes up, giving birth to a remote stand. Remote stands are stands that are conscious and can make their own decisions. That is a clone of the enemy stand user, Zipperman, and this woman. So it fastly grows up, steals a motorcycle, and chases after JoJo and his friends. And the stand's ability is that it can take objects and people apart piece by piece and turn them into other things at like a molecular level. So he's fighting JoJo, whose JoJo's ability, which is very, very strange, is that he can turn inanimate objects into living objects. Is trying to battle this thing. This thing rips out his throat. This thing rips out his eye. It rips out his foot. Like, JoJo's fucked and is almost dead. So the evil baby stand thing is kidnapping Zipperman and Trish, which is the bastard child of the mob boss they're trying to protect. And the baby thing turns around, and Jojo is now standing when he should be dead. And he goes, through battling you, I've figured out a different way I can use my own stand. I can turn inanimate objects into my own body parts. So he's taking pieces of his clothes, turning them into his missing pieces, and then putting them into his own body. He then turns his fucking hand into a piranha and then eats the enemy stand from the inside out. God damn. This shit ramped up and is fucking awesome again. Have you been continuing? And since Bob, I know things have changed a little bit for you, so I don't know if you've kept up. Are you still watching JoJo?
Yeah, we're on season 3.
Okay, how far are you into season 3? Because the last time we spoke, you had they had just introduced Pontiff.
They just killed the Empress chick who makes like growths on people's bodies.
I don't recall that one.
She puts a growth on old man JoJo's body, and he has to run around trying to fight his own arm.
Oh, okay. So that's not the magnet one.
No.
Okay. You'll love the magnet one when that happens. Pretty hysterical. It's one of those, we put very manly men into very gay positions for the hilarity of it. It's one of the best episodes. Well, Bob, I guess you should take us into Sword Art Online, Alicization, whatever.
Okay, so they beat the night chick. They find Alice, they fight her, they get sucked out.
Who's the night chick?
Of the tower, and they all die. There you go. We're done.
Who's the night chick?
The one with like a laser light sword.
Okay, but who is she though? Like, how does she matter? She doesn't matter?
She doesn't matter.
Okay, and they escape.
They beat her, they go up the rest of the tower. They find the Alice chick that they're looking for. They fight her. Yeah, I know. I'd go more into depth, but...
Go more into depth, that's why we're here.
Yeah, I can't right now.
Okay.
So fuck you.
You don't anyway.
And they fight her. Their shit causes an explosion. They get sucked out of like the fucking 80th floor of a tower, and they have to like climb it from the outside, and that's pretty much it.
And that's what happens in 15 minutes of content?
Pretty much, yeah.
Fabulous. So while putting together this new format, I went through all of the designated subreddits for all of these shows to pull anything I found clever or funny for the slideshow. And one thing I discovered was Sword Art Online fans can't meme. There's nothing. The only memes that I could find were about people thinking the show sucks. So I literally didn't have enough memes for the slideshow, so I just took horrible screen caps of bad animation. Because goddamn. For being one of the most, like, popular franchises in anime, my god, does no one give a fuck. All right, I'm going to get into the part 2 of Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai. Ooh, this was a heavy, like, 6-episode watch. No, not...
Hold on, let me go entertain myself on Reddit.
God damn you. Oh, you know what? Fuck it, Bob. Fuck it. We're gonna skip to some news before we go into Bunny Girl. You said Reddit, and I just reminded me something, because you're gonna have a lot less fun on Reddit now. You wanna know why?
Okay, why?
Reddit has now banned lolly.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna read. I have it here. This is the statement. I thought you would appreciate this. This is the statement from Reddit about Lolicon.
I mean, there's only one lolly I care about, so it's not like
it doesn't. Well, hold on. Well, she and all of her cohorts are now banned from Reddit. So this is what it states. This policy includes child sexual abuse imagery, child pornography, and any other content, including fantasy content, i.e., stories, lolicon, anime, cartoons that depicts or encourages or promotes pedophilia, child sexual exploitation, or otherwise sexualize minors or someone who appears to be a minor. Depending on the context, this can in some cases include depictions of minors that are fully clothed and not engaged in sexual acts.
Wait, fully clothed and not engaged in sexual acts?
Yes.
And it's still banned?
Yes. So essentially all lolicon is banned. And someone had, because I remember this from back when it happened, well, I think it was either Twitter or Discord, I can't recall which one specifically, but someone had asked, okay, here's 2 examples. A character who is like a 100-year-old vampire who looked like she's 8, or an 8-year-old dragon that looks like she's fucking 25 with massive titties. Which one or both are banned? both are banned. So we live in a country, Bob. You and I, we were thankfully born in the America, where Lolicon is not illegal. I can go and buy Lolicon on a shelf in Best Buy or Barnes & Noble today, but cannot look at that same content on Discord or Reddit. That's fucking amazing. Unbelievable. I don't even give a fuck because like I don't even look for that shit. I just think it's annoying that like I don't like the hypocrisy of it, because like the idea that like Fate Khalid or whatever the fuck that show is that you love, that almost all of that content would be banned from most social media, but you can go buy it on a shelf. All right, enough digression. Back to Bunny Girl Senpai, where the real women are. God damn it. We went ahead and I finished off the rest of Bunny Girl Senpai. There are 4 arcs. There are 3.5 arcs that happen in these like 6 or 7 episodes. I'm not going to cover the 1 about Futaba, which is his best friend. It's entertaining, but I don't really have much to say about it. It's just kind of there. And then there's one with Bunny Girl Senpai's little sister. Yet again, some funny moments, not a ton to talk about. The main stuff I want to focus on is the arc about his little sister. Remember how I mentioned, Bob, that I was really hoping that the main conclusion of the story was going to be about his little sister dealing with her adolescent syndrome, because she was the one who was locked away in their apartment and hasn't left in years and like lives in pajamas. So in the show, the little sister starts to open up through being exposed to Bunny Girl Senpai and all the other girls that Rascal, the main character, brings over to the house. She starts to socialize more and has ideals of maybe one day not living in the apartment forever, kind of thing. Now, this is where this show does something that I have never seen in anime ever, and this is coming from a guy who's watched tens of thousands of anime. In Japan, they have a huge stigma with mental illness. I know America does too, but to a much lesser extent. Japan, you do not. If you have a mental illness, you do not talk about it. Okay. So essentially, this little sister has mental illness and like PTSD, right? As you yawn, you prick.
Yo.
Okay. So she said, "Don't play video games, fucker. I see your Steam shit pop up. Fuck you. Get that shit off there. Get the fuck off that shit." Please pay attention because this is important. So the little sister decides that her brother is never going to be able to live a happy life as long as she's a burden. He's not going to be able to be married. He's not going to be able to have kids if she is constantly going to be around and he has to take care of her. So she wants to set goals to get her life together. So she makes a list of very, very minor realistic goals to handle her trauma. So she's like, I'm going to start answering the telephone. I'm going to get dressed as if I was going to go outside. And then the next day I'm going to make it to the front door. And then the next day I'm going to make it outside. And the next day I'm going to make it, onto the street. And they deal with it. And sometimes she can't make it that far and she has to take a break and she, hyperventilates, and he's like holding her hand through this. And even Bunny Girl Senpai, who cares for her, is just like, oh, I'll call the phone so it's me calling, so it's not a stranger, so you can get used to calling a phone. And like, this is actually how you deal with people who have these problems. And I was like, man, the maturity level that this show is dealing with this girl's trauma is unheard of in fiction, but let alone anime. So the big moment comes where she's gonna make it outside, and she's gripping onto Rascal's back, and he kind of steps outside, and she starts to cry and is like, I can't do it. And then he just lets go of her, kind of like when you let go of a kid on training wheels, and he steps away, and then she freaks out, and then she looks down, and she has made it across the threshold of the apartment, and she is scared but incredibly proud, and she starts to cry, and then he like cries, and they like hold each other, and I'm like, man, this is so amazing. Like, this show has transcended like all my expectations at this point. So eventually they him and Bunny Girl Senpai and her go to the beach to have a picnic. They build up to that point. So on the beach, a girl walks up and says, oh, are you Kaede or whatever the little sister's name is? And she's like, I don't know who you are. And she's like, but we were best friends. Like, we went to middle school together. And she's like, I don't know who you are. And at that point, Rascal has to explain to Bunny Girl Senpai, there's more to this situation that I've never expressed to you. My little sister isn't just dealing with mental illness and trauma. When she was essentially going to die from the bullying, she dissociated from herself and removed all of her memories from being a child. She just woke up one day and had amnesia and didn't remember anything. So that kind of explains why she acts so much like a child, because she acts very adolescent, like very, very young. And I just thought it was because she, lives at home essentially, but no, it's because she is essentially, I said essentially too many times, has only lived for 2 years and being raised by her brother. So his mother goes insane because of the reality of her daughter, one, being bullied to the point of like suicide, and then having amnesia due to dissociating from the trauma. So the mom is put into a mental institution due to this. Now this, in reality, people are not like, H.P. Lovecraft stories where they just deal with a horrible traumatic event and then go insane. That's not how people work. You have to have some form of mental illness, and then you have to have a catalyst that sends you into insanity, essentially. So the mother must have always been crazy. And I think that the sister was also always crazy. Always had some kind of level of mental illness. So I kind of thought that all of this was symbolism for this family, like generational mental illness, is kind of what I thought this was all symbolism for. The sister starts to continue to want to grow, and she wants to go back to school. Now, the brother is very hesitant to this, not because he wants to protect his sister, but they're kind of dipping their toes into codependency, where he loves having her depend on him, and he's very happy to have her, become her own independent person. But the idea of losing this, her needing him is also a big, it's like a loss of a child kind of thing, and he doesn't want to do that. But inevitably, he does what's best for her and allows her to, become independent. So she wants to have a perfect day with her brother. And the reason she wants to have a perfect day with her brother is because to find out, the doctors told them that if her memories ever come back, she will lose all of her new memories, which is not how human beings work. That's fucking stupid. But in this anime specifically, if she regains her previous 12 years of memories, she'll lose the last 2 years of memories of her and her brother living together and him taking care of her. So she wants to have a perfect day with her brother because she's essentially, to her, she's gonna die. And she wants all of her brother's memories of her to be the best memories they can be. So once they have that perfect day, she goes to sleep, and the next morning he comes into her room, and the person who wakes up is not the little sister he's been taking care of for 2 years. It's the little sister that was being bullied and was suicidal. And he has to deal with, this is what my family wanted, this is what the doctors wanted, but I don't know if this is what I wanted. And they take her to the hospital to be checked out, and then he just kind of has this realization of what's going on in the situation. And I totally felt his pain. I've been there. And he's dealing with the loss of not just his, a sister, he's kind of losing a daughter. He's losing a person who he's cared for every day for 2 years, is now essentially dead to him. He will never see that person again. And he just loses his shit. He runs out of the hospital. He's screaming. He's crying. His wounds on his chest start to reopen from his eternal trauma, dealing with this emotional pain. And I'm like, God, this show is so fucking intense. And a person walks up to him to give him care. Now, there's a character who's been in this series, Bob, that I have not really talked about a lot, okay? So there is a girl named Shoko. I think that's how you say her name. Shoko is a girl that he met who was a high school student from a different school who was essentially an emotional pillar for him to lean against when he was dealing with his sister being, bullied and suicidal, okay? She was there for him when he was in an emotional weak state, okay? Once his sister lost her amnesia and he dealt with taking care of her, that Shoko girl disappears, okay? So much later, a few years later, he meets Bunny Girl Senpai, and they become boyfriend, girlfriend, and they're very happy. He comes across a young girl who's about the same age as his little sister, maybe a little younger, in a park, who looks just like Shoko and is named Shoko, but doesn't know who he is. And he's very confused. Like, this girl's like 4 or 5 years younger. She has the same name, the same face, but doesn't know who the fuck I am. Which they don't really touch upon a lot. Like, he just kind of acknowledges that and they kind of move on. Now that he's dealing with the loss of his sister and he's in pain, you know, on his knees crying in the street, this woman walks up to him, this adult woman, whose name's Shoko, that looks just like Shoko, who now remembers him and knows him. Okay? She takes him home. She cleans his wounds. She cleans his clothes. She feeds him. She gives him this motherly affection that was immense and comforts him through the night, like as he cries himself to sleep. And I'm like, okay, this character has to be his adolescent syndrome. She can't be real. I'm thinking that, okay, here's an example. Bob, do you know the concept of the daughter, lover, mother?
No.
Okay. Evangelion dealt a little bit with this. Every character, female character in Evangelion in Shinji's life was supposed to represent everything a woman can be. Because a woman can be a daughter, she can be your lover, she can be your mother, she can be all of these things, right? So I'm thinking that Rascal's adolescent syndrome is him dealing with a mentally ill mother who was never there, possibly abusive. There's a possibility that his wounds and his sister's wounds could have been an embodiment of like the potential abuse they could have been suffering from a mentally ill mother. So that's kind of where I'm thinking this is going. So he you know, deals with the loss of his sister and he kind of overcomes it. And then the last episode appears. And I'm thinking the last episode's going to kind of deal with him dealing with his new sister and living happily ever after with Bunny Girl Senpai. They go full on romance tropes. It is so terrible. It is the girl having a misunderstanding and then running away, him having to make a giant show of affection and like chases the girl across like the country. It's really terrible. I hated it. It does end with a really sweet moment of them, like, you know, him holding her in his coat and them like in the snow, and it's kind of cute, whatever. And it just fucking ends. It ends, but it never explains to you who the fuck Shoko is. And that annoyed the fuck out of me. So I went, well, it's time to scour the internet for the next 2 hours and see if I can find any answers. I discovered that there is going to be a Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl film that comes out in a few months that is supposed to tie up the entire end of the series. Which is cool, I guess, but I hate the idea of a story not ending until months, if not a year later, right?
Mm-hmm.
Bunny Girl Senpai is based on a light novel. Light novels that nobody has fucking read. I could not find scans of it. I could not find reviews of it. I couldn't find it anywhere. But I found a guy who has a blog who had like translated the books and then posted summaries of the books on his blog. So I know the events that are going to take place in the Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl film. So major spoilers, Bob. You're going to fucking have the eyes roll out of your fucking head for how dumb the plot gets in Bunny Girl Senpai. So this character study about mental illness and trauma is about to go right off the fucking rails. The plot is that Shoko is a time traveler.
Oh my god, already.
She is a time traveler. So the little girl version of Shoko exists in the main timeline of Bunny Girl Senpai. The high school version of Shoko is from a different timeline, and the adult Shoko is from a third timeline. Both the high school version and the adult version are time travelers. This is the thing. Little girl Shoko is dying of a heart condition, and the high school Shoko is only a high school student because somebody gave her a heart transplant. You want to know who gave her a heart transplant?
Shoko.
Shoko gave herself a heart transplant?
You don't know.
No. Fucking
Maybe she did it at the end of her life so that she can live.
Rascal died in a car crash, and they give his heart to Shoko. So she goes back in time to prevent him from doing that. But doing this causes him to, like, he finds out that that's what she's doing and says, you know what, I'm going to kill myself so you can have my heart anyway. So then Bunny Girl Senpai tries to stop him, and in the process gets killed herself in a car accident, and her heart is given to Shoko. So the adult Shoko is married to Rascal, living with the heart of his ex-girlfriend.
Yeah, they got really dumb.
But he's been living with regret over his lost love for so many years. She travels back in time to try to yet again alter history so him and Bunny Girl Senpai can live happily ever after. But it doesn't work. So then the version of Rascal whose girlfriend has died travels back in time to prevent his own death, dying in his place. But since he's from a different timeline, disappears, so there's no heart to give Shoko. So you're like, okay, does that mean Shoko dies? No, because Bunny Girl Senpai stars in a film about heart failure, which brings attention to the public, who then donates millions of dollars to heart research that allows someone to transplant a heart into Shoko, allowing her to live. That is the plot of the upcoming Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl film. Holy fucking shit, they took something amazing and fucked it into the dirt. I don't want Bunny Girl Senpai to be Steins Gate. No thank you. Please don't do that. If the last episode would have been, if the last episode was not completely skull fucking me with romance tropes I've seen a billion times, this show would have been one of the best shows I have ever seen. It transcends regular anime and becomes art. I'm going to buy this on Blu-ray if it comes out. I'm going to put it on my shelf and look at it longingly and remember my wonderful time I spent with Bunny Girl Senpai. You have anything to say, Bob?
Nope. Sounds dumb.
Sounds dumb. Great.
Sounds dumb.
Well, Bob, let's get into the coup de grace Rise of the Shield Hero. Man, got some good episodes here, boy. Woo! This show fucking is good shit, man. I will say, what episodes did we watch? 3 and 4? Is that where we're at right now?
Yes.
Okay. Episode 3 is good, but it's not super entertaining because honestly, the reason I love this show is the characters, and there's not a ton of character in this episode outside of the first like 5-10 minutes. They level up, they realize that the upcoming wave is about to happen. They go to the Dragon Hourglass to see how much time they have left to train. The other heroes confront Shield Hero and allude to his misdeeds about the rape of a bitch woman. Raccoon Girl is like, why do they hate you? And like, what are they talking about? And he's like, none of your fucking business. I'm not going to tell you. Which I'm like, come on, dude. Tell your Raccoon Girl. Fuck. I don't think she's going to judge you. I think she'll believe you. Don't worry. But I know this man has no trust, so it's fine, whatever. The wave happens. My God, what a spectacular sight for the eyes was that wave. Did that not look awesome when the sky is like rippling and like ripping apart and there's just demons falling from the sky?
Yeah, I did.
Hot takes from Bob.
Sorry, I can't talk, so I'm avoiding it.
So the main heroes, when I say main heroes, I mean the 3 cunt boys trio goes off to fight the main boss of the wave, because apparently if you beat the boss of the wave, it turns the wave off, I guess, which they didn't really establish up until this point. Shield Hero says there's a bunch of villagers in a nearby town that are going to get fucked because there's no one to protect them, so me and Raccoon Girl are going to go there and she's going to evacuate the town while I get, like, I'm going to go, aggro all the fucking mobs, which I thought was genius because this is a video game. Normally I would have been like irritated because like the enemies are not going to stop killing villagers just because some douchebag yelled at them. But I'm like, he's a tank. He's just taunting them. That's how video games work. So of course that's how it's going to work now. So all the enemies chase him. He climbs up a fucking tower. He lights that shit on fire and then jumps off. It was spectacular. I'm not a huge fan of his shield thing where his shield learns new abilities and it like changes forms, because all I can think of is the fucking Keyblade from Kingdom Hearts. That's all it reminds me of, especially when it turns into like the fucking rope and he uses it to swing. I'm like, oh my god, my rope shield. They defeat a big wave of the enemies. Then the knights from the main castle show up and they're like, oh, it's Shield Hero, fuck him, let him and the villagers die because reasons. And he's like, motherfuckers, if you're gonna be dickheads, I'm just gonna let the monsters eat you. And then the other knights are like, no, maybe we should help Shield Hero. You know, that's kind of the reason he's here, so let's support him. So they fight to take out the rest of the wave while the other heroes defeat the boss, ending the destruction. Not much more happened in that episode. There was a lot of action. The action was okay. I'd say, you know, it's fine. Now, the real shit is episode 4. Oh, episode 4. So after repelling the wave of catastrophe, all of the heroes are treated to a giant like celebration dinner at the castle. Shield Hero attends. I'm not sure why he would go. Honestly, I would say fuck him, but I guess maybe he wants to go for like the raccoon girl to have fun, maybe to reward herself for participating. That's kind of how I just rationalized it. The spear faggot shows up and is like, hey, yo, I heard that raccoon girl's a slave. Is that true? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, well, that's fucking immoral and wrong. And you dishonor being a hero. And he's like, motherfucker, it's legal. Lots of people have slaves. What the fuck's your problem? Like, it's not like I'm abusing her anyway.
And they kind of left him no choice.
They kind of left him no choice. Like, who the fuck are you? And then, you know, obviously this is a plan by, you know, cunt bitch to just fuck over Shield Hero more because reasons. Spear Guy challenges him to a duel for Raccoon Girl's freedom, which to me is like stupid because I know I've read the manga, so I know how this goes, but knowing Raccoon Girl, even if she got her freedom, I know she's never going to leave Shield Hero, so there's not really a lot of stakes to this fight. I really don't care because I know that even if she's free, she's still going to be with him.
Do you even know his name?
I have it written in front of me, but I don't know how to say it.
It's like Naofumi or something, right?
Why would I not just call him Shield Hero?
Because you're dumb.
Okay, I can just call him the green one. He is the green one. So Shield Hero declines because he's like, fuck you, I'm not going to participate in your stupid duel, whatever. And then the king is like, well, fuck you, we're going to kidnap your raccoon girl and you're going to participate in this duel because I said so, bitch. And forces him into gladiatorial combat in front of all of the other blue bloods of the kingdom to watch him potentially get his ass whooped by the spear hero. This fight's actually animated really well. This whole show's animated well, and this fight, even in the manga, is kind of lackluster because there's only so much a motherfucker can do with a shield. But it's entertaining. He uses his wonderful hidden cache of balloon monsters, which you never see until he wants you to see them, so I'm not sure where they're hidden. Because they just kind of appear whenever he wants them to. Which, considering how high level the spear hero is, I don't think the balloon monsters should cause him pain anymore, but they still seem to fuck with him pretty hard. When Shield Hero fucking uses his like weird energy shield and like gut punches him, I was like, fuck yeah. I don't even remember that in the manga, but he gets a nice little gut punch in there. He eventually locks him into a shield prison with a bunch of balls, balloon monsters, and is just like, okay, motherfucker, are you gonna give up or not? And when he lets him out of the shield prison to essentially bend a knee, cunt bitch throws a wind blast of magic from off the battlefield to knock Shield Hero off his feet, allowing Spear Hero to take the win. Which I'm like, okay, everybody in the fucking audience saw that bullshit. She's standing right there. Like, this is fucked up. And Shield Hero's like, you know, what the fuck? You know, disqualification. You know, she fucking hit me with a wind blast. What the hell? And the whole audience is like, oh, look at this pussy. Fucking, he can't accept his loss. Da 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 da. And I'm like, I mean, I know I read the manga, but I'm like, I'm confused. Like, maybe they didn't see it because it was wind, or are they lying? And then we soon realize is that because cunt bitch is fucking the daughter of the king, which we learn in this episode, they've convinced all the blue bloods to just play along with whatever the king says. And I didn't see nothing, then she didn't do nothing. Thankfully, though, even though I don't like any of the other heroes, they back Shield Hero up and they're like, bro, you fucking, like, we saw her use wind magic. Like, don't be a pussy. Like, you fucking stole that wind, motherfucker. Like, admit it, kind of thing. But the real impactful moment in this, and this is where the direction of this show is immense, where they changed it from the manga is in the manga, when they free Raccoon Girl from her slave seal, it's from her perspective. And in this, in the anime, they take some liberties by making it Shield Hero's perspective. So he sees her get freed and essentially turn her back to him and be like, fuck you, I'm out. And he's just feeling complete loss. Like, yet again, the entire world's against him. He's been made a fool of. The one person he could, rely upon is now turned her back on him. He's given up all hope on life, which unlocks the cursed skill tree, which I love. Because, Bob, you and I play a lot of RPGs, right? How often does an RPG actually have a requirement that is not related to a skill tree? Almost never.
Yeah,
right?
Very rarely.
I think the only game that really stands out in my memory was like KOTOR, like Knights of the Old Republic. Like, you had to be a certain level of evil to learn certain powers, and I think you even had to kill like an innocent or something to unlock a different power. Like, you had to reach really weird requirements that some of them you didn't even know existed to unlock certain abilities, and no other RPGs really do that in the modern day. So when he unlocks this by losing hope, I was like, this is fucking awesome. Fuck yeah. But Raccoon Girl, in reality, this is just an embody, he's visioning her turning her back on him, but she's like, fuck you guys. He's a good person. He took care of me. And the Spear Hero is like, but you were a slave. And she's like, if you gave a fuck about freeing slaves, then why don't you have any in your party? And I'm like, oh, damn. Like, she burned his ass. Because that's true. If you give a fuck about slaves, why don't you go buy some and free them your fucking self, bitch?
Yeah, now Fumi was the only one who fed her and gave her medicine and all that shit.
Yeah, he's the only person who has given a fuck. Like, all these other bitches have, like, people who were well-bodied and funded people working with them. Like, he took someone who was dying and turned them into somebody, turned them into something. He essentially raised her into something, amazing. And that's so cool. So she goes to him, and he's like screaming, like, get away from me. Like, you fucking are going to betray me and turn your back like everybody else, kind of thing. And she tells him in the most honest way, like, I will always be there for you. You can rely upon me. I believe you. I trust you. Like, I know you're a good person. And that's really, some people, that's all they've ever wanted to hear. And that's kind of what he admits is like, my entire life, I've just wanted somebody to trust me, someone I can lean on. Like, I need someone to lean on sometimes. And she's saying I'm that person, which is all symbolism for finding somebody you love, kind of thing. Like, finding your partner in life. Like, she's that, which to me is handled a little bit differently than in the manga, because in the manga, like, yeah, she's someone who's there for him, but I feel like they're kind of doing that thing I was afraid of, where they're starting to lean into the romantic stuff a bit. Like, I feel like they're gonna become a couple, and I'm like, I don't want them to become a couple. Like, I want him to be able to have a supportive relationship with a woman that's not romantic, but whatever, it is what it is. So he lets go, he cries, and then the other heroes are just like, she's not brainwashed, fuckface spear guy. Like, do you see them in each other's arms? Do you really think that this is some kind of like slave relationship? Like, no, they fucking care for each other, dickhead. The next morning comes, she makes him food from leftovers, and he eats it, and it's the most delicious thing he's ever eaten, because it's the first meal he's tasted in months, because he finally let go of, which is weird, because honestly, this is where it fucks me a little bit, because I understand the idea of he lets go of all of his hate and can be happy again because of Raccoon Girl, but that would make everything that happens next make less sense, because his entire power comes from his hatred. How can his entire energy come from hate when this is about him letting go of hate and being able to like enjoy life again? You know what I mean? Don't you see where that's conflicting?
Yeah, I see.
Okay. All right, Bob, do you have anything else to say about Shield Hero before we say goodnight to the people?
Nope, it's still pretty fucking good.
Yep. Fuck yeah. Fuck Anime's News Network. Let it burn in the pit with all the other shitty news websites. Well, sorry for the delay, guys. I'm glad we're back. I hope everybody enjoys the new format of the OBS layout. I know it's a little lazy, but goddamn, it's going to make things a lot easier for me. I don't have to re-upload the episode 3 times. So hopefully, unless something horrible or great happens in the next 6 to 7 days, we should be back next week with more wonderful anime episodes on the Life Worth Wasting podcast. Bye-bye.
See ya.
Fire when the strong, it's you.